and her son Tariq. We all grew up together. His older brother Malik, and all of us were together playing football, getting in trouble together.
Yes.
Aunt Daff and all the other mothers would whoop us when we was in trouble.
Yes, sir.
And so this is very personal for me. I've been to Tariq's memorial a number of years.
Right.
I'm thankful to see Aunt Daff still pushing hard and other mothers
Yes.
coming alongside. And,
That's right.
I have another aunt of mine. My first cousin was killed in West Baltimore, Jacoby Ryan Fagan.
Yes,
I continually speak his name.
Right.
And my aunt, his mother, has still never recovered from that.
That's right.
And
Yes,
that was
sir.
13 years ago. And
Yes.
right now my aunt struggles with drug addiction and so
Yes.
many other things. I think she's trying to medicate her
That's
pain,
right.
and it's a strain on the family because we all are still grieving.
Yes,
13
that's
years
right.
later,
Yes,
you know what I
sir.
mean? And so this is not my involvement in this type of stuff is not just some purely cognitive exercise or some philosophical
Yes, sir.
or some aim where I can advance myself. I was born in this city.
That's right.
I'm
Yes,
living
sir.
this stuff. I got my family is, my baby cousin is in a grave right now because somebody, killed him. And so this is very personal, very real, and I'm so thankful that people like Daphne Austin, who,
Yes, sir.
like you said, know this on a
Right.
very personal level, are
That's right.
helping to craft legislation. Chris Brown alike, crafting
Yes.
legislation. They need to be the ones speaking to it.
That's right.
Because nobody knows like they know. As mothers of sons and daughters, people don't know like they know what needs to be done.
Yes, sir. And let me go to the line, take a few more of these calls, and I'm going to come back and ask your thoughts and comments because here we are in the height of summer, and we see that murder and violence have increased. Just lost a 16-year-old baby the other night, Diamond Williams, along with this alleged 19-year-old suspect. Lost a black man on Kitmore Avenue, which became Kilmore Avenue. Unfortunately, killed more black folk in the city of Baltimore at the hands of Baltimore City police officers beating him, as witnesses said, and videotaped him being beaten, him being maced, him being pepper sprayed, and then not providing the necessary CPR. I saw somebody doing chest compressions. I didn't see anybody doing no mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
Wow.
So again, that goes back to the issue of training, but also goes back to the issue of sensitivity, goes back to the issue of should a black man or woman have to die for a simple traffic stop in the city of Baltimore. After the Malcolm X grassroots media, which came out with their report last year that every 28 hours, a black man or black woman, his black child is killed by someone in law enforcement or associated with law enforcement, and 13 of them last year were killed in the city of Baltimore, and young Chris Brown killed in Baltimore County. So Baltimore has become the epicenter for, again, the death penalty, which we have told that the state has repealed the death penalty, but we say for who?
Yeah.
Let me come to the line, take a few more of your calls so I come back to my brother, again, Pastor Brown. Good afternoon, caller. You're on the State of the City.
Hey, good afternoon, Brother Darren. How are you?
I'm good, brother. Thoughts, comments?
Yes, sir. Man, I'm just calling to comment on the violence, the purge of lost sons.
Yes.
I want to say, but brother, it's particularly alarming, man, especially for Baltimore City, man. When according to statistics last year, the murder rate per 100,000 people in Baltimore City was 35 people per 100,000.
Yes, sir. Which makes us, all you got to do is say makes us number one in the country, brother.
Number one in the
Cut
country,
through the
brother,
chase, man.
With a population below 700,000,
Yes.
if you take New York with a population over 8 million, murder rate per 100,000 for them is only 4.
Right. That's right. Yes, sir. So we're more dangerous than Chicago, pound for pound. We're the most dangerous city around right now. And
Hey,
that's just the shootings and the stabbing. We haven't even gotten into the drug overdoses in the city.
No doubt. Hey, another quick point for you, man.
Yes, sir.
It's unconscionable to me to find out that this officer did not know CPR.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I retired from the state, man, after 24 years in the prison system. And every year we had to get certification for CPR. So to me, that's just unconscionable, man.
Yes, sir. Well, I think he knew it. The question is whether they were willing to do it on a black child. That's the question. They had the skill. The question is, do they have the will? And if they didn't do it, then of course that should make them culpable in terms
Yes,
of not rendering CPR to save that young man's life. And the man that was killed the other night, Mr. West, I think was his name, in East Baltimore up there on Kilmore's, not Kitmore, but Kilmore is what it became for him, brother. All right?
Hey, man, no doubt. And I can't believe no public safety officer in this nation does not know CPR, man.
They know it, brother. The question is whether they're willing to do it. That's it. We do know that. They learn that, I'm certain, before they get out of the academy, brother.
Yes, sir.
All right?
Thank you, man.
Appreciate you checking in, and we'll take more of your calls, 410-761-1592, and you can get in on the conversation with Pastor H.BROWN III. Good afternoon, caller. You're on the State of the City. Caller, you there? Call you there?
A question. Yes.
Come on, sister.
A big question here. I really believe that when it comes to what happened with the Florida stuff, especially with Zimmerman, Trayvon, it's much deeper than that because of just Florida. A good example is Minute Maid. Minute Maid is owned by Coca-Cola.
Right.
So, of course, if we extend it to be banned on Coca-Cola products, which it should have been in place because of their mistreatment of people in Colombia,
right,
then you have a stronger stand. Two, I really think that they're just using it as Florida as a test ground to pass legislations in other parts of the country. And so, I mean, we really need to be on board for that.
Okay.
Now, with the National Association of Black Journalists, they're supposed to be starting their convention this week, or is it next week, or what?
I think theirs is not this week, but next week. And then I think the week of July 27th is the National Bar Association is in Miami.
And they're still in place of having it to happen.
Yeah, they're still having it. In fact, the attorney Crump is supposed to be one of the keynote speakers, along with Vice President Joe Biden and some other people down there. So I think there's more to this story, sister. The time won't give me a chance to get into the day, but stay tuned because I'm going to definitely go a little deeper, all right?
Okay, and one other thing, too. This evening, Randy Short is going to be doing a presentation about our comrade Malcolm Shabazz in Landover, Maryland.
Okay.
At 7716 Landover Road. Mm-hmm. And that's 6 to 9. And I just got word about that a youth was Cody Lee Ingham was lynched in Athens, Texas.
Okay.
And I'm trying to get the facts verified by Ricky Jason, who was very strongly involved with the James Byrd case.
Condolences. Get more information. Definitely forward that information, all right?
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And the last question, please give the address of or who to contact about with the boxing match.
Okay, I will do. I'll do that before the end of the show. All right. Thanks again.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Give thanks. And thoughts and comments, Pastor Browns. We're talking about the violence in the city of Baltimore. And again, going back to the mayor, going back to the police commissioner and their response or their lack of a response, because a black man shouldn't lose his life because they claim that they're doing a traffic stop. But it seems that this is part of the stepped up, beefed up militarization of the police department in the city of Baltimore. We want crime, of course, to drop in our communities, but we don't want them coming into Northeast Baltimore and sending in police as Gestapos or as some Nazi-style tactics. And if you don't have basically probable cause to stop cars, but we know we're still dealing with the police department, that they're dealing with quotas based on how many stops you make, how many citations you write up, how many citizen contact forms you give out. This is real. And again, how many guns you can get off the street. So they're still being stat driven right now, because if not, they would have got rid of CompStat a long time ago. So talk about, I think, the importance, unfortunately, of this gentleman, Mr. West, losing his life and just for a traffic stop, and you don't know if it's for probable cause, and the officer has to fear for their safety for them to even say, we want to search your car or check your car. So there's no reason to check your car, and you see them doing this all the time, pulling young brothers and sisters out of their cars, searching their cars with no warrant and no real probable cause, and not fearing for no officer safety. It just becomes standard operating procedure right now. So thoughts and comments on that, brother?
Yeah, you know, I read the initial article that came out about that, and certainly my condolences to the family. And any way we can support, please reach out. But also, you know, you're right. When I read the article, I thought about, you know, what are they going to write on his death certificate? You know, death by traffic stop. I mean, a traffic stop ends up in a black man being killed in Northeast Baltimore. And I did not read anything that would substantiate their claims that there were suspicions of there was drugs or anything. I mean, they didn't say a gun was recovered or drugs was found. At least in those initial reports, I didn't read anything, and so I'm still waiting to see.
That's right. But let me interject. But they have already engaged in what we call the 3 Ds: denying, destroying, and discrediting, by talking about he has a long arrest record. You understand? What does that have to do with the price of tea in China?
Yeah,
please continue,
right.
brother.
Justifying the murder of the brother, you know, putting all his business out there. And then for the young lady, when I saw her, said that she got video. I immediately said, I pray she gets a lawyer real quick, get somebody, to protect her, because the police were asking for her to turn over the video.
Turn over the videotape, right. When you don't have to do that. No. ACLU have said that. The court has ruled they don't have to do that, that you can record the police. And I know my brother Willie, that always calls and said that's one of the things that he's out doing, recording the police, watching the police. And see, this is why we've been saying when Councilwoman Belinda Conaway was in the council, we should have cameras in all police cars so that we can protect the good police officers and at the same time make sure that we expose the bad police officers down there. So thoughts and comments on that. We'll come back and give the announcement on this.
Certainly. So, okay. We do these workshops every now and then for young people in particular, but what to do if you're stopped by the police, right? And you do these workshop things. You know what I think?
And that's nice, but we need to do one for the police. Why are you even stopping the people? You understand?
And you know what? And maybe another one too for the people who are driving by and see it going down. What should be our recourse?
Yes.
What should be the steps that because you've seen it, a lot of us have seen it. We're driving by, we're seeing young black brothers on the curb with their feet out and their hands behind their back.
Right.
What are some steps we can take as a community? And what is the proper information? Because we know, in my experience has been, officers have made up the law. If I wanted to pull over and pull out my stuff, they'll say no. They start pulling out laws. They'll know it's against the law to record. It's this, that, and the other. So we'd have to have the education.
That's right.
But what should be the step-by-step process for the community? And how do we create the climate whereby the community feels empowered enough to do that? Because I'm sure there's many people who drive by scenes like that and say, man, I want to do something. I wish I knew what I could do. Or what are the steps in terms of that? And so yes, in terms of what to do if you're stopped. Yes, in terms of the police need some training. And I know Delegate Carter has some legislation that's going to be coming forward in the next session. We look forward to supporting that. But also just for people who are passing by who want to help. What should we do in that type of setting? That's
right. Well, that's going to come back to, I believe, we got to go back into our churches and our mosques and our organizations and have what we used to have in the 60s, teach-ins. You understand?
Yeah.
Wasn't just about in terms of, again, getting the Holy Ghost. Right. But it's about getting you right in terms of, again, protecting your life, but giving you the messages and the information with implementation so that we can have some real teach-ins in order to teach our people of what they have to do.
Right.
And then even role playing. You know what I mean? All that has to go in so that we can protect our people and save more lives in the city. But let me come back to the line. Good afternoon, caller. You on the State of the City.
Yes. Most of the recruiting for your urban police departments, they're getting a lot of these guys from this Iraq and Afghanistan. And quite a number of them have some emotional, mental problems.
Yes, sir. They suffer from post-traumatic syndrome, combat syndrome, and everything else. They used to call it shell shock. Yes, sir. Right.
So when you got someone that shouldn't be a police, that these administrations of the police department say, oh, yeah, you'll do an excellent job because you was in war, and they put them on these streets in these big cities.
Yes, sir.
A lot of black people are going to get murdered.
Right. That's right.
You're going to get your ass.
Yes, sir.
Chopped up.
Right.
To be frank with you.
Right.
So it's a never-ending battle, and unfortunately, I'm going to lose my life.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of other black men are going to lose, and black women, you're going to lose their life.
Yeah, they don't.
In addition, and I'll try to do a 360 on you.
Yes, sir.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes.
A great man. We have too many of our folks can't feed themselves, can't house themselves.
Right.
If it wasn't for the United States government.
Yes, sir.
When are we as a people going to stand on our own 2 feet? We don't need the government.
Yes, sir. Well,
we don't need the government. Let them white folks need the government.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to disagree on that one point. We need them, but we need limited government because if we pay taxes, we got to have some taxation with some representation, and they're at least supposed to be able to produce the services for us as they produce for others who are just coming into the country. They treat us like we living in exile and treat them like they're in express hour when they come into the country, brother. All right?
Yeah, I was on the corner this morning on Jude Hill and Lawrence Street.
Yes, know exactly where you're talking about.
Black folks sitting around early this morning and the trash up to the curb.
Yes, sir. Well, that's on city government, but they got a responsibility. And if the city ain't gonna come pick up your trash, I tell them take your trash downtown in front of City Hall.
I agree
All right?
with you.
All
Okay,
right,
my man.
brother. Thank you for checking that. And we'll take more of your calls, thoughts, comments. 410-761-1592 as we're having this conversation with my brother and friend, Pastor H.BROWN. Got to ask your thoughts when we come back to the line. Reverend Al Sharpton was supposed to be in town last night, along with the son of Dr. King, M.L. King III. You would thought that police brutality and the death of black men would be on the item as well. Not just talking about the